Alright guys, we're going to look at the cold enchant BowSorc. These have been done in seasons past. I think the two videos I saw up of them were from season 1 where everything was still on the old sort of enchant levels and stuff like that. We'll take a look at this. This was partially given to me by Cordesh. If you guys have traded with me, and some people do recognize me, regardless of the small amount of subs I have, it still blows my mind when some of you know who I am. That's not a flex, it's just, I really hate it when people are like, hey, I'll give you this discount, just, you know, trading for a mal, and they want to give it to me for free. I generally tell you to go fuck yourself, and pay you anyway. But this was a weird request, because Cordesh was quitting, and he had half of this character built. He basically had the Fire Skillers, the Widowmaker, and the pre-buff gear. I had to fill in everything else, like the main gear I'm using, the Cold Skillers, the rest of the charms I'm going to use, and the MF gear and everything else. So it was a weird request, but he said he wanted to see this turned into a mapper. So this was my best attempt at it with the new stuff. So the way the class works is you're going to get your Fire Enchant and its synergies maxed out. I tried this with Demon Limb, it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Also, I know the Season 1 builds also use Lightning Mastery and a Dream Helm, that also doesn't work. The rest of your points go into Cold Enchant, dump into Chilling Armor, and make sure you got 1 point in Cold Mastery. The issue with this class is you need to get pre-buff gear on, which is super annoying. It takes a few minutes to set this up every time, and we'll kind of go over what you can do without this pre-buff setup as you go. But I like to start with the Cold. I always have this set up, like when I log off. Cold Enchant, Ormus, Snow Clash, 3 to Skills Helm. You can get facets, by the way. Facets do work. The plus percentage to cold damage works. You won't get the negative resistance or anything, but you can pump out, 15% more cold damage if you had a 3-faceted circlet here. Cold Skills Ami, Cold Skills Mage Fists, and a Mang Songs. That's when you go out and pre-buff, blah, blah, blah. Cold Enchant, you'll see it lasts 1,296 seconds. It's about 21 minutes, so you got plenty of time on it. And then here's the problem. You have to go and put all of your Fire Skillers on. Alright. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm missing 1 Cold Skiller, technically. Fire Skills. Then I have a Fire Enchant Ormus to put on. I got Fire Mage Fists, an Arak, and then a Fire Skills Ami, and a Fire Skill Circlet, which I need to get the other facet for. I also need a 1 skill ring. As you can see, you also get 10k Fire Enchant damage. And it lasts the same amount of time there. So I suppose if you have a better ring, I need this for the res right now, but and the Raven. But you can pump it up to, what, level 50, 51, whatnot. And obviously pushing with more corruption, more things, you can get a +7 Mang Songs or whatever. And then after you've got your buffs on, I have my gear set up like this with a coil, an Andy's Face. I have an Arcane's Valor because I can't think of anything better to use. I'm using the Maras for the res, though a High Lords would be probably better. Magnus for Pierce, and Treads for Pierce. The one thing you can do is he gave me a 4-socket Widowmaker. I just ran out of runes, which is why you're seeing it as is. I have a Mal rune left on my whole account. But you can get a 5-socket Widowmaker for a Vex and get the 5th Shale in there. That would allow you to dump the coil and put on Razor Tail and get you to almost max Pierce. I'm at 60% and I'm really not feeling a huge difference with that. And technically with this class, if you really wanted to, go hardcore here, I have MF Charms and Life Charms and Res Charms and all this stuff. You don't need these Cold Skillers or Fire Skillers anymore once you buffed. So you can actually get rid of those, put on 2 Res Grand Charms, and then, sit here and do this. You gotta do this every time if you want the max damage out of the class, which is kind of annoying, but it is fun, it does work, it's just you gotta do this every time. And I'm sure there's a more efficient way to do this, but here we go. When I have all my stuff on, yeah, I'm almost max. I could get, max Fire Res if I switched things around, I'm sure. And a little bit of MF for that 88 there, but we'll open a map here and see how it goes. Oh, Mercenary just has random crap on, plus an Infinity. The Infinity is not necessary, which we'll go over in a second, because anything, first of all, that isn't immune to one of the other, either cold or fire, obviously it's just gonna get shredded. You know, you got 10k fire damage, you got 4k or whatever it was, 5k cold damage pumping out. Anything in here that's not dual or single immune is dead. What the Infinity helps with is not really breaking fire immunes, because you have cold damage to deal with the fire immune. That's perfectly fine. What it does is it lowers the resistance, the cold resistance on things that are already fire immune, and it lets your cold damage work. So breaking the res really isn't that important. It just really helps you deal with the fire immunes, the ones you can't break, a little bit more effectively. So really the Infinity is, you know, that's gravy. So if I had to go over something, Cordash, something about how you built this, I think you just built it backwards. What you did was the absolute correct idea. You didn't go with the demon limb. You got the pre-buff gear for fire and cold. That's perfect. What you need to do is get the Infinity last. You need to get your other gear up. Make sure you have that 5-socket Widowmaker instead of a 4-socket. And go from there. Maybe even getting your facets before the Infinity would be a good idea. So, as you can see, you know, it works just fine. You do have teleport. It is the slowest teleport in the world because you have no cast rate, but you essentially have a BowSorc with teleport, which is nice because, well, physical BowSorc 8 ass, and this actually works a little bit better than, I'd say, a decked out BowSorc would. So, well, maybe not in terms of speed, but fairly safe. Don't really have to deal with any immunes. But beyond that, it is fun. It's stupid. It helps out groups. Groups love it. Every time I go into a map and get to enchant everybody up, everyone's very happy I'm there. It's, you know, like playing a pally. We'll get out of this map and talk about the other things with this class, what you can do with it, and, you know, specifically what you can do without the pre-buff. Alright, it's not good at treasure falling. That's class is terrible already. Can't kill treasure fallens. It's awful. Alright, well, let's say I just wanted to spam some chaos runs. I don't want to do all this pre-buff stuff that sounds like it takes forever. Well, you know, there's fire immunes in there, so I'll put on the cold skillers and some MF gear to get myself over that, you know, 200 point. You know, you're gonna hurt, yeah, you only got 4k fire and chain, you only got the 2k cold, but, you know, if you don't want to sit there and pre-buff and do all this stuff, can you still get through this? Yeah, it's enough for LOD content for sure. Not going to be as quick, it's not going to feel as good. So if you're going to MF with the character, I would recommend going into a game, pre-buffing, and then just running everything. It's not going to be a great chaos spammer. Can you MF with it and, you know, go do Andy and MF and Diablo? Yeah, sure, absolutely. I would just recommend doing the pre-buff first and basically killing everything. That would be the best use of time on a class like this. Also, it's like, I guess it's not that good for chaos because, you know, Crapify just fucking sucks on this class. Really, really bad. See, it's definitely not as, it definitely doesn't feel good. So it's not a great spammer. Can you MF with it? Certainly. But I'd still recommend getting the pre-buff gear and going for, yeah, I mean, the Venomort. Another thing we should talk about is your single target damage. Unlike some other classes that have good, I just even stand in LOD Diablo's bullshit. You kind of have to actually play it like, well, LOD and actually avoid shit. And that's why you have to avoid shit. Alright, so overall, do I think this is a fun class to play? I mean, yeah, absolutely. It's cool. The pre-buffing is really, really annoying, in my opinion. But it's worth it. It makes the class feel good. You can only play it in certain ways. Is it a good mapper? Yeah, absolutely. Can you spam Trav runs with it? No. Or Chaos runs with it? No. But can you, throw on some MF gear, pre-buff, and run everything in LOD and MF it? Yeah, absolutely. It's perfectly fine for that. So it's really good in that sense. I guess the drawbacks to this is kind of the cost a little bit. I mean, the Widowmakers are not that expensive. I'm just out of runes. I can get a 5-socket for a Vex right now, I think. But, you do have to buy all of your fire skillers, all your cold skillers. I'd recommend getting those first. That's probably the first thing you should buy. Then you should be looking at, because you can at least, clear things on your own and go orb or something to level. But I would look at buying, your Widowmaker, your Arcanes, and getting your bow gear after that. Then I'd start investing into your rebuff gear, your Ormus with enchants. Those are fairly important. Anything you can get with, facets and stuff like that. And then very last, I would get the Infinity. But I know the Arcanes doesn't add vitality to them. It just has canopy for. But, yeah, I mean, I don't think you did anything wrong with this Cordash. I think you had the absolute right idea. It's just, I know you didn't get it finished, but I would have built it just in a separate order. So like I said, repeating myself now, but get the skillers first, get your bow gear next, get your pre-buff gear after that, and then last and finally, you can top it off with the Infinity for that just extra bit of punch that you need. So overall, yeah, it's a really, really cool class. We are not going to give this one away, just because I've dumped about 10 high runes into it to finish it off. What we will do is keep it around. It's a great, like I said, mapper. It helps out everybody. I'm just going to keep it here like this. If you're in the Discord, if you're not in the Discord, get into it. But if you ever want a 10k or whatever it is, half damage, 5k fire enchant to run a greasy map, we'll keep this around. And Cordash, if you come back before the season or you want to play this and see if it's something you want to build for Season 5, I can give you all the gear back, including what I've put into it. So again, Cordash, thank you for the half of the class. I hope you guys have seen that this thing is still viable. And I'll see you next season, I think. I think this might be the last video for this. We'll see how it goes. Catch you guys later.